everyone, and Katribu. I am Dina Ventura,
And I'm Francine Marquez.
and welcome to PairFect. Hey,
Hey, Dina.
it's Hat Day Wednesday.
Yes, yeah. And it's almost March. Do you realize that?
Yes, I know.
Just a few weeks.
No, days.
A few days, right?
Oh.
And it's like almost summer.
Summertime. I
What-
can feel it.
Yeah, what do you miss most about
Beach.
Oh.
Honestly, I miss the beach.
Oh, ako naman, I miss the forest
Oh.
in our Laguna place.
Oh,
And also going to the parks, weekend markets.
Yeah, weekend markets.
Yes, and especially this particular event called Art in the Park. You hang out with artists. They put out their best offers and
Ganda.
you enjoy the sunny weather and the trees. Yeah, which brings us to our special guest today.
Can't wait.
Yes, two lovely ladies who are part of the driving force of the creative and arts community. Yes, they're the co-founders of Art Fair Philippines and Art in the Park. Let's welcome Trickie Lopa and Lisa Periquet. Hello, ladies.
Welcome, Trickie and Lisa.
Hi.
Welcome to PairFect.
Yes, we wish we could be outdoors, but we realized Art in the Park this year would be online.
Yeah.
That's why we brought our hats to honor Art in the Park. Yes.
Thank you for making time for us. We know
Yeah.
how very busy you both are right now, di ba?
Yes. Yeah, so which leads us to our first question. How is 2021 so far for you, personally and work-wise? Maybe Trickie can start.
Okay, personally, we started planning the online edition of Art in the Park like late last year. So I guess it started with a bang. By the time January rolled along, we realized, oh my gosh, it's 6 weeks to go till the next Art in the Park. So it's been hectic, I guess, but fulfilling hectic.
Yes. And for you, Lisa, how is it so far?
Busy as Trickie describes because you know what, the beginning of the year is always busy for us. I think that's been for the last 8-10 years because normally we have the art fair happening in February.
Yes.
This year it's Art in the Park that's happening this February. We've switched the dates around a bit. So once January hits, we have to work flat out to get things done and ready, get them all ready for the end of Feb.
Okay. Can you take us back to last February? Like what happened then? You were able to mount the art fair
Thank God.
Philippines. So tell us about that experience just before the pandemic was
right.
declared.
It was we were very, very lucky because we held the art fair. It ended about 2 weeks before the lockdown. So we actually couldn't believe it. And it was a great art fair, particularly good art fair in my opinion. So we were just glad that we pulled it off. I mean, Trickie, if you remember, we were thinking, should we go on with it? Should we not? You know, for many reasons. But, you know, we had spent all that time and the funds setting it up by that time. So we said, let's just risk doing it already. And we were lucky that we didn't have those restrictions until after the art fair.
Yeah. How long does it normally take to put up the art fair for you?
Oh, it's 10 months at least, a year to 10 months. Yeah. So can you imagine February last year, we were planning since May of 2019. May of 2019. So, and like Lisa said, we really pushed the envelope with that art fair. I mean, we really made sure it was like, we added several more sections, we really pushed the galleries. So we really had to make sure it went on, especially not just because of our efforts, but the efforts of all the participants and all the artists. And I'm so glad we did it. I was telling you before we went live, right? That at that time we thought, okay, we were already taking the adequate precautions. We were cleaning the public areas every 30 minutes, the elevators, the stairwells. We had temperature checks already. We had to buy like those portable temperatures.
Yes,
At the
I
time, it wasn't
remember,
easy to
yeah.
find. It wasn't easy to find at that time.
Yeah.
We had to order vats of like alcohol gel, spread it all over the link. We thought, okay na yan. Okay, we were like already like, over preparing for, like, for whatever. Yeah, so hard to believe now, like, the world has turned so much. So
it's now part of our lives to have
It's
those
all-
things around.
Tama.
Oh, pero what was different about that event then? I mean, you planned it for so long, diba? Like 10 months, and then imagine what would have happened if you couldn't push through with it after that, diba?
yeah,
My goodness.
I know, gosh, I can't even think about it.
Oh.
We had so many firsts. Well, for our special exhibition, we used a curator for the first time, because normally we're the ones who set it up. But we got a curator, and he had a great idea of how to set it up. It was, I don't know if you remember this super colorful section of the fair. It was all blocks of color, and then he put in some artists who were off the radar. So I think that was
Yes.
very, very impactful and very different. And at the end of it was a great show. At the very end, literally, of the location was a little hole, and when you went in the hole, there's a beautiful exhibit by Onib Olmedo.
Yes.
I remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Tribute to him.
that was really wonderful. That's one of the highlights for me. I'm sure Trickie can tell you more about the others also.
Yeah, we launched Art Fair PH Film, celebrating the 100 years of Philippine cinema. So we did that with, of course, one of our sponsors, Globe Platinum. We also had an area for incubators, meaning art groups which are not formally organized as galleries, but who have been part of the art scene, who have made their presence felt in the art scene. So we had them. We also launched another section called Open Studios, where we did workshops for art enthusiasts, and that was really very well received. So yes. Oh, and we had Sol DeWitt as one of our special exhibits. It was yes, yeah, Lisa, because Lisa worked.
I was very excited, yeah, because that for me was one of the highlights. I actually put it in my notes because Sol DeWitt is such a incredible global name as a conceptual and minimalist type of artist. He's known all over the world. I mean, he's not around anymore, but we were able to mount 2 of his works, actually 3, because one of them was a choral and dance performance. Because the essence of his work is formulas. He believed art could be repeated like a machine. It could be like a machine, and so you can install it anywhere as long as it went according to the formula he prescribed. So we got a curator from the US who knew to come and manage this for us, and she got all these artists to do all their drawings. They're usually drawings. So there were drawings that were made in 2 different parts, and then there was a choral performance. So that's a landmark for the fair. For an art fair to be able to show Sol DeWitt is just fantastic, actually. We had to get permission from the estate.
Yes, yeah. We negotiated that, so there.
Grabe pang trabaho talaga.
I guess that's what I love about art fair.
Yeah.
You sort of bring in all these great works from all over the world.
I know.
It has that global approach, and it brings you right there. You're so close to the
I know.
works of the
It's a-
art
it's
of the
a
artist.
Experience talaga. You really have
Yeah.
to go.
But what I wanted to ask also is that a few weeks later, March 5th, March 17 ba, when they
17.
declared the ECQ,
Yes.
everything was on lockdown. What ran in your minds when that happened? I mean, you
Oh,
have all
no,
these things lined up.
Yeah,
All
it
the
was really
plans.
such a disappointment because, we scheduled Art in the Park 3 weeks after the art fair, which means we were working on it at the same time. And frankly, I don't think I've ever worked as hard on any Art in the Park as this would have been the 2020 edition, because we were doing it at the same time. So we already had our press launch and everything, and 1 week before we just had to say stop. So when March 15 actually came, it was a Sunday, right? And I remember, my God, the weather was great. It was cool. It would have been a perfect day in the park, and
Yes,
too bad.
Yeah, everyone was disappointed, especially the artists. You know.
Yeah.
They prepare for that, and they take time to prepare for that, months to produce art
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
artwork. Yeah, it's different from the art fair. So I think they were really deeply disappointed.
Mhm.
I can imagine because
Oo.
I think universities, schools are also involved in art fair.
In Art in the Park.
Art in the park, yes, in art in the park, schools and other artists as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So how many artists would have participated back then? Like
Gosh,
yeah.
In art.
hundreds. The same as now. Yeah.
So
A lot.
that was totally scrapped
Yes.
pa for last year. This
Mm-mm.
will be the one that should have been for last year.
No, we actually mounted an online Art in the Park in
Ayun.
August last year.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So this is our second online edition of Art in the Park.
Okay. So what did it take for you to transition from the actual art in the park to the online event?
Oh God.
Because
A lot, a lot. It wasn't easy.
Iba eh,
I mean, it
diba?
seems
oo,
easy,
diba? I'm
and it
sure.
seems like less work, but you're just exchanging the work you do for the physical space into an online platform. And honestly, we had not done a purely online digital event before, so it was like we
A
had to learn the
first.
ropes, and it's quite. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Yeah.
And remember, our whole team was dispersed. Dispersed
Yes.
all over the Philippines. So we had to learn how to work together remotely, and then kind of like learn the technical aspects of the back end of like working a platform, a marketplace, but still trying to keep the spirit of Art in the Park there. So, gosh, my new skill sets. I think all of us.
Yes, I was gonna ask, para what did you learn from that time when you were about the new normal scene for what you're doing?
Yes. I guess
Bringing
everybody was just trying to figure out, right?
Yeah. So for you, because you had to learn the technical side and then dealing with all the different artists from all over
Again.
again. So personally, what did you gain from it?
Ah,
Mm.
a whole set of new skills. A whole set of new skills, at least on the technical side. And then I think the big insight that we got from holding Art in the Park online, meaning being there, making sure we were there, instead of disappearing because of the difficulties of the times.
Ayun.
It told us that, first of all, artists are dying to sell. They want to sell their work. They want to have a venue for selling their work, a good platform. And secondly, buyers and collectors, they want to buy. They want to buy art.
I
They need to
agree.
get their art fixed still somehow.
Yes.
And because they're familiar with Art in the Park, they're willing to try it out online. And I think it worked pretty well for us, wouldn't you say, Trickie?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We were surprised by the reception. In fact, we were trying to be conservative, telling the galleries, okay, maybe 30 works each would work. And then the weekend before, because we opened that last month, we're like, I was surfing, and I told Lisa, okay, I'm surfing and I'm finished the whole site in 15 minutes. We need more work. So, we had to
That's a good
call the gallery and
challenge.
say, you know what? That's the big thing about shifting online. It's like limitless, right? You can, maybe it takes an hour to go around 3 booths in the actual park, but,
Now.
to visit 3 shop fronts digitally, you can do it in like 10 minutes. So, we had to tell the galleries, okay, we need more pieces. And luckily, they were so happy also. They didn't, they were so happy to be able to tell the artists, look, we can show more of your work. So that was that was a big thing that we learned. And our audience numbers were the same as it would have been on the first day. On the first day of our digital fair, our audience numbers were the same as it would have been on a Sunday in the park. So that's when we realized it's a whole different
World.
going online really opens up a whole different space for you, for an event like ours.
So this time, we asked for a lot more submissions compared to last time. And we were able to upload them before the fair started. Because last time, because we were scrambling because we figured we didn't have enough, we were uploading at the same time, and that's deadly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah, nobody slept. The art fair was Art in the Park was 8 days in August. Nobody slept in our team for 8 days.
wow.
That's the problem with
Digital, no?
Talagang walang oras.
Yeah, yeah. The back end is kind of like 24/7.
And I guess the
Okay.
market expanded because it's
Hmm.
online. Like
Yeah, it
somewhere in
can.
the world, there's someone awake looking at the art in the park site.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And more people can access it. Like,
Exciting,
I
no?
mean, on a personal level, even friends abroad, they all say, "Oh, now I can finally go there."
Finally.
Yes. Which brings me to my
Yeah.
next question. Maybe let's talk about Art in the Park right now, which is ongoing and which
Mhm.
has been very successful. And aside from I think the learning curve has lessened because I know there's some musical performance happening at that. But before we ask you more questions about the current Art in the Park, let's pause for a break.
Iba ng panahon, ang dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Putian mo bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga partners, may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Ano mang pera transaction, you can buy it all. Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan.
And we're back.
Yes, and I'm Francine Marquez, and I'm with Dina Ventura, and we're having a lovely conversation with the co-founders of Art Fair Philippines and Art in the Park, Miss Trickie Lopa and Lisa Periquet. Hello again. Before we had our break, we wanted to find out what's Art in the Park right now, the current ongoing event everybody's talking about.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Me first. Okay. Well, like I said, one challenge, even when we did we did the first online event last August, was how do we keep the spirit of art in the park the same, as if you were in the park going on a treasure hunt, discovering something. So our galleries, of course, came up to scratch. They prepared, especially for the second one. So we have a lot more works up on the site. But our special exhibitors also, because normally we have special exhibits and special installations in the park, and that's a focal point of art in the park. So how do we make sure that the artists get the same, I suppose, attention that they would have gotten if we had put up something in the park? And they also rose to the challenge. Both the two artists we worked with, actually no, the four artists we worked with in August, and our special exhibitors this time, they knew how to like mount an exhibition that was geared for an online platform, geared to an online audience, and it's been great. If you've seen our site, we have special exhibits by young artists, Henrielle Baltasar Pagkaliwangan, Jo Mike Tejido, and Yvonne Kisumbing. Their works are co-presented by Globe Platinum, and then BPI also allows us to give a special focus on pottery through the works of John and Tessie Pettyjohn and Joey De Castro.
Nice.
And what's great is that for each of the special exhibitors, we have these kind of video documentary films. They're short, they're not very long, but it's a great way to learn about these artists and their processes, because everybody's different. Even the potters, they work differently. So that's interesting. And then, for example, Henrielle, who loves to work in pen and ink, she also has a practice based on printmaking that she's kind of just started. So she's showing us her printmaking process as well. And who else do we have? Joe Mike Tejido, who he's interesting to us because he has been an Art in the Park stalwart for 15 years. He's been there for every single year of Art in the Park, including this year. And his works have developed and grown. He's actually an architect by profession. He does very graphic, colorful work. And I guess it's very attractive to people because they're selling like hotcakes.
Color. It's the color, I think.
Yeah. But how are I know that you've announced how people can purchase, so it's really just online. Everything is done maybe cashless.
Yeah.
Cashless.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And no discounts. It has to be the price there because it just
Yes,
completes the
yes.
payment process.
Of
Yes,
course.
yes.
So that's maybe what's a little bit different
Yeah.
from the actual event where
You could
there's always
haggle.
banter, between the buyer and maybe the gallery owner or the artist. They always, they negotiate like that. Here, there's no negotiating. You just have to pay the price that's there. It's just easier for everyone.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fair, I think.
Yes, very fair.
Yeah,
In
but we
support
make
of
it
our
convenient
artists.
naman. I mean, there's
Yeah.
like various payment options, the credit cards, of course, and then there's GCash also. So we've adapted to online selling as well.
Yes, I think it's part of the entire transformation.
What came first ba? Art Fair Philippines or Art in the Park? Was it?
Oh, Art in the Park. Actually, it's our 15th year. I mean, it's quite fulfilling for us because personally, when we set up the first Art in the Park in 2006, I never thought we would get to 15 years and Art in the Park would grow to what it has become, a much awaited cultural event in the art calendar, plus to have 60 participating exhibitors. We started with 12. So, yeah.
It has grown so
I
much.
guess it definitely came first for the art fair.
We really admire what you are doing for the art world. So, but we were also wondering, how did you meet each other? I mean, how did it all start?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we know each other from way back.
yeah, that's going before longer than 15 years. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were friends, and
Or were you in
business
projects
partners?
together?
Actually, I first met Trickie in London because I used to live there. And Trickie and her doctor husband, Randy, they came over for what do you call it, a residency?
Yeah, my husband was doing his fellowship.
Yeah.
So that's where we met. We met there. And I guess we discovered we both like art. I mean, I personally found my love for art there. And then we also kind of worked together in a business venture with Lisa's sister Joanna, the big and small company. We were both designers for our own clothing line. So for kids, mine was for preteen girls. Lisa was for younger kids. So we worked together professionally too in another field.
And then I guess because of our shared interests, we were both with the Museum Foundation of the
Yes.
Okay. So it was really a lot of our time with the Museum Foundation of the Philippines that kind of spurred us to go into these art projects. So we combined it with Art in the Park, with a community and a cultural project, because we always work with the Bel Air community for Art in the Park because it's located within Bel Air, the park. And then we decided the beneficiary was going to be the Museum Foundation of the Philippines because we love it so much. Because the Museum Foundation, it raises awareness for arts and culture, and it also helps out the National Museum monetarily and in other ways. So it all came together. That's how Art in the Park started.
Mhm.
Now I know.
Yes. And what's also amazing is the fact that every year people just await what's going to happen next with art in the Art Fair Philippines or art in the
But
how do you how do you try to step up every year and what are the
Ah,
challenges of putting things together?
I think,
ah,
I don't know, for me, it's really keeping up with what's going on
Mm,
everywhere in the
mhm.
art world, being very aware. I think that helps, that feeds our minds, our creativity. It's very important to be well informed of what's going on, what's happening in other places around.
mhm, mhm. And you,
yes.
for you, Tricky, what are the biggest challenges of doing this every year?
Okay. After every art fair, I always think, how are we going to top that? Should we just give up
Exactly.
already because we might not, might not be able to do it? But as Lisa said, I mean, okay, something I realized during this lockdown, I'm really an art nerd. I can talk about art, I can watch art, I can listen to art. I mean, all conversations about art the whole time. So I guess
Mhm.
keeping up with the art scene globally, what artists are doing, points of view, it
Mhm.
helps spur create the creative juices and like our conversations and deciding what do we want our audience to get for
Mhm.
the from the next art fair. We
Mhm.
always try to bring in something new. Actually, the educational aspect of the art fair is very important for us, which is
Mhm.
why it's a key point. We always think, we always think, what will they get from coming to the art fair? What can we give them? What new thing will they take away from the art fair this year? And so there, that's how it goes.
Okay, that's a good
Mhm.
one. Simple lang, di ba?
Yes, yeah. I guess it
Because
has
it
to be in
gives,
your core
oh,
to really be passionate about art.
you have to know
Yeah.
that world.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you've been doing this for many years, and we're sure you've had so many unforgettable moments.
Same way
Maybe
that,
you can
yeah,
name,
Oh my
yeah.
God,
same way
yeah.
that we, the viewers, the public, have our own interesting memories of
Unforgettable,
art
yeah.
fair and art in the park.
Yes,
But
but
we
for
want to hear it straight from you.
if you could
Or do you mean
name, oops,
unforgettable in terms of what? The
Maybe
art, or in
the
terms of
art
everything.
itself, mounting, a
Mounting
situation.
it,
Mhm.
yeah,
the actual event itself, right?
Do you
Like
mean
what?
art in the park or the art fair?
Both,
Maybe both,
either.
like
Hmm.
top of
Well,
mind.
art fair is it's a huge challenge logistically.
Okay.
Okay, that actually sometimes when I think about it, I can't believe that
Mhm.
we've been able to do it.
Yeah.
Using the car park kasi was very integral to the concept
Mm,
because we wanted a venue that was not intimidating. It was
mm,
also kind of interesting and edgy and
Mm-mm.
would welcome all types of people, not just people who know about art, but people who want to learn about it, people who are not so seasoned, people who just want to be introduced. And
mm,
so that choice of venue was really important. But of course, that came with a lot of attendant problems and issues because a car park is not made like an exhibition center.
Yes, yes.
So everything has to be done temporarily. So you could think of it as like a pop up, but it's a pop up that needs like, I don't know how many dozens of air conditioners. How we have to make sure that the electrical load is supported. It's very basic things like that. But I actually find that exciting and challenging because it's a transformation. And when you go in there, maybe a lot of people don't realize how much work actually goes into making it a comfortable space that's actually very good for viewing art, except for
mm,
the low ceilings, which are really a problem, but it's a good space for viewing art.
I
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge every year, figuring that out. We've gotten better at it over the years, and I think we've made it also maybe more comfortable. Maybe it looks a little bit more put together as we go along, also.
I guess it
Yeah.
it follows the concept of if you build it, people would just follow. Who knew there would be dozens of artworks in the car park
I
at least
know.
once a year, right?
Even
Yeah.
students love going there, no?
Yes, 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 yes.
Para mag-selfie sila.
Yeah, I think I've seen everything in art fair.
Oh, great.
Including, I remember one time, this sound art exhibit by Tad
Yeah.
Ermitaño. The
Yes.
weevil, the worms or insects as part of the entire
yeah.
sound art.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that was a great show.
Yeah.
Actually, it was wonderful.
Yes, yes.
Kind of out of this world, and you know what? That came very early on, no? When you think about it now, that was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
our fourth edition.
yeah. Like 2015, I think. Yeah, third.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
The
then
artist who made that, Tad Ermitaño, is really he's quite singular. He likes to work with sound. I mean, there are not many people who work with sound.
yeah,
And he has worked in Art in the Park right now.
really,
Yeah.
wow.
They're still there,
Mm-mm,
but I saw.
We'll check it out.
oo.
I mean, even the works of great artists like David Medalia,
Oh
Onib
yeah.
Olmedo. I mean, you know,
Everyone.
everything. So we can't wait for next year if ever there's one going to be mounted.
Do you remember the ping pong table?
Yes, by
Oh yeah.
Louis. Louis.
Yeah, that's still a favorite actually.
Yes, yes, I remember.
Basta every year, there's always something to talk about, di ba? Parang,
Yes.
did you see? Ganyan.
Exactly,
should go.
exactly. And then everybody's thinking what Trickie just said. How are they going to top that?
So it's not just
Exactly.
you who's asking
Yes,
that the
everyone,
question.
everyone. It's always exciting. I mean, it's just like a community. You get to talk to the artists as well.
Pero I was wondering, kasi before, Art in the Park and Art Fair Philippines are both about art, di ba, and
Yes.
culture. But they were distinct because of the venue, right? But now it's all in the same platform. So how's that? How is that affecting
Oh,
the...
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
The digital platform.
You know what? Art in the Park has one thing also. Please don't forget, it's an affordable art fair. Every piece is capped at
Okay.
50,000 pesos, $1,000. Except for a few of our special exhibits who we allow because they want to give more support for the Museum Foundation of the Philippines. But that still exists in an online platform. And the participants, in Art in the Park are more broad, I suppose. We have the art schools definitely there. We have informal art groups who have been joining Art in the Park
Okay.
for how many years now. They come together every year to work on pieces that they can show in Art in the Park. We also try to welcome a few new galleries who have just joined the art scene. Like this year, we welcomed a gallery from Cebu called Cube. This is their first time in Art in the Park. We have a few new galleries also from Metro Manila joining Art in the Park for the first time. So it is different. It is different. It's going to be different.
Okay.
Even when we do the art fair online.
So right now, let's have some proof out there. We have some pictures that we
Picture time.
gathered. And then maybe you can tell us what these photos are all about.
Show and tell.
Yeah, it's show and tell time.
Okay.
Okay, first picture, please.
This one.
Well, that's the famous car park.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you miss it?
Did you always,
Yeah.
was it
I'm
always
very
in,
fond of it. I'm very fond of it. I know about you, Trickie, but
No, I miss it. I really do. It's unbelievable that we're not there this year.
but just,
when we started, you know, it was it was pretty pristine, the car park, because not a lot of people used to use it for parking yet. Because that's about, I don't know, 9 years ago now.
Yeah.
But now it's already looking a bit more like a gritty car park. You know. It has great spaces. You know, when you don't think of it as a car park, it actually has some very interesting spaces which have challenged the architects we've worked with, and you know, they've really helped us come up with great spaces there.
okay. So, our next photograph.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just looking at that the other day. that was our unconfined cinema event last year, which kicked off our new section, Art Fair PH Film. I imagine people lying down there, mingling, no social distancing, watching
Yes.
that film.
Their idea was to project the films on the canopy of Tower 1, which is a great idea. So everybody
Oh
had
God,
to be
amazing.
lying down.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it also looked great from afar,
yeah,
Yes,
yes, yes.
Beautiful
Baka pwede
image there.
ulit, open air with social
Maybe.
distancing.
Yeah. And then in your next fair or activity. And
shows you how creative you can be, I guess, with film showings.
yeah. Our next photograph.
Oh, that was our team last year, basically. Yeah. Lisa mentioned the curator for the project space, Norman Crisoldago. He's there. Neil Oshima, who helped us, and Yael Camino, who helped us with the open studios.
Okay.
Of course, Boots Herrera from the Ateneo Art Gallery, who we work with for the Talks program. Erwin and Phil were the curators of the film program, and of course, Dindin, who are also our co-founder for the art fair.
So how many people does it take to actually come up with
A
your
barangay.
events? A barangay.
But you know
So
what?
we
I
have
think
volunteers.
No, naman, no. Actually, no. Yeah, Lisa.
the team, yeah.
We're lean and mean. We have a core team. We're actually just right now we're like 7 people in the office who are there full time. Not even full time. We're 7 people who are there who really work on the fair and Art in the Park, and then we just work with various groups depending on what the event calls for that year.
Do you have like student volunteers?
Yeah.
When you have
We get interns. Yeah.
Especially for our tours, no?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then sometimes they also help us with certain projects. We actually also for the reception.
Yes. Yeah. Last year we actually got some HRM students from
Lyceum of the
Lyceum. Yes, Lyceum University of the Philippines,
good.
and for them it was training in terms of like
Yeah.
handling conventions.
Yeah.
Right? We don't get conventions here, so for them it was on the job training also.
Yeah, it was very good. We were quite impressed. They're
So it's
well trained.
so good for students.
For
as well,
students,
no? I
yes.
mean, priceless training, no less. Our next photo.
When was this? This was 2 years ago, siguro.
We got it from Make It Makati's website.
Okay.
Credits.
Wish we were there.
What Art in the Park looks like.
Yes.
It's actually, it looks great in photos. But I do remember Trickie, the first Art in the Park. It was so dusty. 11.
Yeah.
11 galleries or 12. And I remember the dust was really flying around because the park was really set up in that way, no? After that, we would talk to the barangay, can you make sure we have enough grass by the time?
Yeah.
It's so dusty.
Ayun yung mga unforgettable memories na
Yeah, maybe.
sinasabi
Yeah.
namin.
Yeah, it's like that.
Oh, so many. Gosh. Yeah.
Do you remember in our first edition, we were going to have the art fair in February. I think it was called the first week of February. And then the first week of December, we were told by the aircon supplier.
Yes, I was just gonna mention that.
We weren't
We're
going
gonna
to
have
come in
air
anymore.
cons.
And we were in shock.
I remember it was December 26th, and we were
Wow.
like, oh my God, where are we gonna get air cons in like 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God, yeah. For me, man,
Yeah.
that time kasi our special exhibitor was Gabby Barredo, his wonderful work Asphalt. And I went with Maui Constantino, who was writing for the Philippine Star, to interview Gabby, and we went there. And all of a sudden, smoke started coming out of Gabby's studio, and it was burning, and we had to carry pieces of
my
asphalt
goodness.
outside. I mean, he put it out on time. It didn't even go near where the work was, but oh my God, getting it out. So until now, when I see Maui, she's like, Naalala mo yun? Nagbuhat tayo ng
care.
artwork ni Gabi para hindi masunuhan. Oh my God!
For art fair.
Imagine.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Great stories that we're just learning right now. Yes.
No, and
Yeah.
then Lisa, remember when we had in 2012, I think, Charlie, we decided, okay, we were gonna try to do installations for Art in the Park. So we asked Charlie,
Cool.
can you, because he had just come from, I think it was just Viva X-Con or Mascara, and
Oh,
he
is
had a
this Charlie
wonderful work.
Ko?
He said, yes, and we asked Charlie,
Okay.
Charlie, baka you can do something for Art in the Park. He goes, sige, but how will I ship it to Manila?
Yeah.
And then he goes, his description was, he wrapped it now like lechon, kinarga sa Cebu Pacific, and then yun, parang nag-deliver ng lechon. Pick it up like a lechon and install it.
They were all kasi figures. Actually, bigger pa than life size.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Don't
I
get that
know.
They
Yeah.
got here, you know.
Yeah, they got here.
Oo, right.
And we said, papadala mo lang, hindi ikaw kasama. He goes, oh, parang Cebu lechon. Ganun sila.
Like Cebu lechon.
Ikarga lang yung product.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine
Ang
all
cute.
this. Yeah, because when you talk to artists, di ba, parang they're just so casual about their works and you don't know, for them, it's not a crazy idea. But from the point of view of the organizers, what?
Yeah, but it arrived like the day before, and there we installed it, and he arrived the morning after. Oh, okay na.
Yes, that's a good,
So,
that's nice.
everything worked
Yeah,
out.
Good story.
Okay, we have more
How
pictures.
about the time we had leaks?
Yeah, I was.
Car
Oh,
part was
God.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's a car park, you know, it's not a residential building, so it's not maintained in
in the same way that yeah. Oh my God! It started raining and it started leaking on the 7th floor of the link, and we were like,
Yeah.
okay, mobilize the maintenance team of the link, you know,
Save the art.
Marietta, and they came and yeah. And I remember going to the booth of one of our foreign exhibitors. I think it was Yabu's, and I looked at him and he looked at me and he goes, "Don't worry, I'm gonna come back next year."
And
That
then
pause before his declare.
yeah, we asked for the car park deck to be waterproof.
Every year. So actually, that's part of their SOP. By June, right before the typhoon season starts, they already waterproof the roof deck, and it's tested all throughout August, September. You know, when the typhoons come and they tell us, "Oh, bumagyo, walang leak." So okay.
Okay,
That's good. That's good.
That was a weird typhoon in February.
Yeah, my God.
Like
Yeah.
2 or 3 days, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
climate change, no? Right. I think we have another photograph. This one. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's the vid in front of his sand machine.
Oh.
He's probably our most globally recognized artist, meaning that he's quite well known globally, but maybe not as much in the Philippines. Although that was because he left here in the late 60s. But his work has been recognized. His work is in the collection of major museums. And that's a sand machine. Oh, that was an experience. Okay, finding the machine, that sand machine.
And right.
And the sand, I had to ask somebody for the sand. It had to be a certain kind of sand pala that, you know, the thing could revolve over. Yeah, he was so happy. So happy. And you know that he passed away recently.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, bless his
Really
soul.
glad that it was a kind of a homecoming for him to be in the art fair. He was so excited because he loves people, and he would just go there and watch people, talk to them. You know, he just loved it. It was a great experience. That's one of the highlights actually for me to have worked with him.
I remember the first time we actually went to visit him where he was already, when he had moved back to Manila and he was staying in a small hotel in Quezon City. And we visited him really just to confirm that he would come to the art fair. He was already not well and he could hardly speak. But what really impressed me was he knew exactly what he wanted to do for the art fair. He brought down books. He had sketches, he had drawings about how he wanted A Stitch in Time to be set up. And I was like, gosh, he's still so on the ball. He knew exactly how he wanted the Filipino audience to experience that work. So it was such an honor to really have him
I'm
in the
getting
art fair.
goosebumps
Oo,
because
buti na lang.
I actually saw the artwork, and then a lot of young people were just drawn to his work. So
Yeah,
it's a good engagement as well.
that's a famous work that he's done in other cities, but never in the Philippines. He never activated it here, meaning that it's an interactive work, and it's what you could call a memory piece. So what it does is it invites people to just sew onto that
Yes.
piece, which was actually lengths of canvas. Anything that they wanted to that was in their pockets or in their bags that they had on them at the moment. So we got everything from that piece, okay? Photographs, stones, food, little bits of food,
Yeah.
stitching, embroidering names, things like that. It was so wonderful, and it really that is the power of David Medalla. He can really draw people in. He has this kind of charisma, and the work has it also.
Magic.
That playfulness, diba? That
Yeah.
connection that he
Yeah.
has in his works. We have another photograph. Haha.
Ah, yes, that's the work of Yvonne Kisumbing, who is one of our special exhibitors. It's actually taken from a big, beautiful painting that's currently on exhibit at Silver Lens Galleries. So she took a detail of that and translated into this mask and fan design, which is being given away by Globe Platinum to their subscribers who purchased from Art in the Park.
Wow, so beautiful. No?
Galing.
Mhm.
And then another photograph. We have another photograph. Wala na.
There.
Okay.
Oh
This
my
one.
God. Okay.
This one.
Beautiful.
That's pottery, right?
It's from John Pettyjohn's
It's a
work.
detail.
One of them. I'm not sure if it's John or Tessie
I
actually.
think that's Tessie because it has those kind of seaweed,
Yeah.
undersea kind of foliage.
Ganda.
How interesting. And then our last one. That one. Can you... How did that come about? So, I mean, it's iconic already.
Yes, that was designed by Pepper Rojas for the first Art in the Park. At that time, Art in the Park was set at the same time as the Salcedo Market because it was really set up as an anniversary celebration of the Salcedo Market at that time. No? So it had to keep the market hours of 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So kudos to all the artists who woke up for us at the time then, right? So it was really, I guess, in a way to say that the early bird gets the artworm. You know, you have to be early to get your art fix.
And it's also about finding something yummy, right?
Yes.
The worm. So it's about discovering, finding something maybe unexpected and just what you want. Pepper Rojas is actually quite a well-known illustrator now in London. In New York. She's based there, and she's a very busy
Oh, we should
children's
write about her.
illustrator. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? That's a nice idea. We should get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Her works in Art in the Park.
Revisit the first artist who made the
Yes.
drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Actually, we should do that.
Yeah. Yes.
And you heard that first here in PairFect.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your stories with us this afternoon. Francine, kulang ang oras na naman.
I know, always. So we just have to ask you, maybe invite our viewers. It's still on, Art in the Park is still ongoing.
Definitely, we're on until Sunday, 10 p.m. on Sunday, February 28th. So we go on until then. And there are a lot more pieces to look at, actually. Plus, we have video presentations every day. And that's also something to to wait for.
Yeah.
It's different. It's sort of like getting to know our artists better, visiting their studios, hearing from them. It really adds to the experience of seeing their work.
Oh, yes.
And we have a musical performance, don't forget.
Oh, yes.
No,
On
how
Saturday.
The park always has music.
Yes.
Ah.
I
yes.
want to find out how that will happen. I'm excited, and I know the band. They're very good.
Okay.
You should
Okay,
listen
great.
to them. Yes. Yeah, so we'll have to
Well, at
say
this
goodbye
point,
for now.
yes, we want to
Yes.
say thank you again for your time. We know you're very busy right now, so
Yes.
thank you very much, and we wish you all the best for this event and your next one.
This won't be the last, of
This
course.
won't be the last.
Yeah, but
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Nice to see you, actually.
Yes, thanks. And I think before that, you'll have to pause for a
We'll
break.
pause for a break before we say our final goodbye.
Before we give our thoughts
about this afternoon.
Yes.
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Beanie Beanie pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first catch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. Araneta City, the city of firsts.
Yeah, and we're back.
Oh, Francine,
Yeah, just
grabe.
to wrap
Ito
up
na,
things. Ayan,
hats
bring
off
back. Yeah, hats
to the
off to these ladies.
of
Yeah.
Art in the Park
Yeah,
and
as
Art Fair Philippines.
Yes, and as we're learning, as I've learned this afternoon, art is really a great fiscalizer, right? And it's a good balancer, especially during these uncertain times.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. So,
But, one thing I really liked about this show,
mm-mm.
ang galing talaga ng mga minds behind these events, no?
Yeah.
And they're women.
Yes, I know. And they've been at it, bringing the community
Yes.
together.
Ang galing nila, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
so
I'm sure
kudos.
ang daming trabaho niyan, di ba?
Oh, and Art in the Park is still ongoing, so don't miss it.
Please
It's
don't
just a
miss
click
it.
away because they're now online.
Yes. Basta Art in the Park, that's where you will find affordable art.
Yes, and the
Yes.
best treasures that you can probably
Mm.
have for your own.
Yes. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
Art Fair, Art in the Park, and it's
Yes.
Arts Month.
yeah.
So perfect.
Because art makes the world go round.
Perfect for
Diba?
PairFect. Okay.
Sige. Okay,
Thank you
Dina.
once again for joining us this afternoon. This has been Dina Ventura,
And this has been Francine Marquez.
and this has been PairFect.